And by the high Middle Ages, it was generally accepted among educated Christians that the earth is a sphere, and in fact, Dante found the core of the spherical earth a very convenient place to stash sinners. That was once a serious issue has in fact become a joke. A friend of mine, Adrian Malott, a physicist at the University of Kansas, has formed a Flat Earth Society to demand the teaching of the flat Earth theory as an alternative to the spherical Earth theory in Kansas public schools, so that children will have the opportunity to make up their own mind about this scientific issue, obviously in mockery of the intelligent design movement. I think there are at least 4 other reasons for the conflict between science and religion. And I should say, in talking about religion, I am not talking about observance, morality, or rhapsodic spirituality. I'm not talking about the part of religion that has no cognitive content, what Susan Sontag called piety without content. I'm talking about religion as a system of belief, because that's where the conflict arises. First of all, science has historically downgraded human beings from a central role in creation. Nobody cares whether the earth is a sphere, but they cared very much that it's not at the center of the universe. After all, this is the stage of a great cosmic drama of sin and salvation, and shouldn't it be center stage? Of course, this led to the problems that Galileo had in adopting the Copernican theory, and these problems lasted well into the 19th century at Spanish universities like the University of Salamanca. Theory of evolution, of course, is an obvious example. It treats human beings as another animal species that has developed through millennia of breedings and eatings to be what it is, not as part of the working out of a divine plan. As we learn more and more about the universe, science sees less and less sign of any special role for human beings, either in the laws of nature themselves or in the history of the universe, of the sort that's imagined by traditional religion. First, there was the discovery that the Earth is not at the center of the solar system. Then the solar system is not at the center of creation. It's just one of many in our galaxy. Our galaxy is not unique. That was discovered in the as late as the 1920s, that the universe has billions of galaxies extending in all directions. And just in recent years, through developments in the theory of the very early universe, in particular the theory of chaotic inflation due to André Linde, we now have a picture which is, I would say, plausible but not yet well established, that our Big Bang, this enormous firmament of galaxies expanding in all directions, is just one episode in a much larger multiverse in which big bangs, or maybe I should say not so big bangs, are popping off all the time, world without end. And it may be that in this multiverse, some of the things that we call the constants of nature vary from one part of the multiverse to another. There were discoveries in string theory recently that lend a good deal of plausibility to that. But although I must say, I wouldn't defend this as something that is well-established science. Well, that's the first thing, that science downgrades humans for a central role. The second is that science makes religious explanations unnecessary. There used to be something called natural theology, seeking in the observed world evidences of divine intervention. And in particular, it was felt that only divine intervention could explain the wonderful capabilities of human beings. The classic statement of that was by Archdeacon William Paley in his 1802 book, Natural Theology, or Evidences of the Existence and Attributes of the Deity. And indeed, I just happened to read a biography of Cardinal Manning, who led the Roman Catholic Church in England, and he credited this with converting him to the Christian faith. Well, we all know that that argument was invalidated by the theory of evolution through natural selection of Darwin and Wallace. And now, with the work of modern evolutionary biologists, even the aspects of human life that seem most spiritual, that seem most evidences of a divinely created soul, our love for one another, our sense of loyalty, of honesty, of charity, appear to have, I don't know how well accepted this is, many of you know more about this than I do, but appear to have evolutionary explanations in terms, again, of an unplanned evolution through natural selection. Some people find this very hard to swallow. Even an excellent scientist like Francis Collins has said that this sort of argument, evolution, will never explain special human attributes, such as the knowledge of the moral law and the universal search for God. Well, some evolutionary biologists think it will. We can't prove that God never intervenes because the world is too complicated a place. But increasingly, as the centuries pass, we see less and less need to assume any divine intervention. The famous opinion expressed by the Marquis de Laplace to Napoleon when Laplace explained the working of the solar system according to Newton's laws, and Napoleon asked, where in this is there a place for God? And Laplace said, "Sire, I have no need of that hypothesis." The fact, in this way, through the ordinary workings of science, we can explain things like the fact that the Earth is such a comfortable place. A colleague of mine at the University of Texas, some kind of spiritual advisor to, or at any rate an advisor to George Bush, Martin Olasky, had a column in our local newspaper in which he explained that the marvelous suitability of the Earth for life was some kind of evidence for divine benevolence. And of course, that would be a good argument, in fact, if the Earth were the only planet in the universe. But with billions of planets in the universe, it's natural that some of them are suitable for life. And it's only on the planets that are suitable for life that there are people asking questions about it. In the same way, in the different parts of the multiverse, if indeed it's true that the constants of nature vary from one part to another, then this picture provides a natural explanation of the fact that the laws of nature are suitable for the appearance of life. In many parts of the multiverse, they may not be. The power of this kind of reasoning has been recognized in a rather infamous article in the New York Times by Cardinal Christoph Schönborn, the Archbishop of Vienna, in July 2005. His article concludes as follows: "Now, at the beginning of the 21st century, faced with scientific claims like neo-Darwinism and the multiverse hypothesis in cosmology, invented to avoid the overwhelming evidence for purpose and design found in modern science, the Catholic Church will again defend human nature by proclaiming that the immanent design evident in nature is real. Scientific theories that try to explain away the appearance of design as the result of chance and necessity are not scientific at all, but, as John Paul put it, an abdication of human intelligence." Well, I have to say that I was gratified by this to some extent, because we physicists feel that you evolutionary biologists get all the fun and